Today we're teaching arena zoomers about owls and also what it's like to never be able to have another creature again, ever. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. And this week, we are teaching arena zoomers about owls, or maybe teaching arena zoomers about what it's like to not be able to play any creatures again ever with Maha its Feathers Knight. So, you know me, there's nothing I like more than making opponents not play Magic, and Maha is one of the sweetest new ways we've gotten to do that in a long time. So let's talk about our Maha Brawl deck, jump into some games, and see if we can lock some arena zoomers out of playing Magic. So we are built around our commander Maha its Feathers Knight, a 5-mana 6/5 flying trampling elemental bird with Ward of Discard a card. Most importantly, its static ability is creatures our opponents control have base toughness of 1. So by itself, this ability makes combat annoying for our opponent, or maybe lets us snipe any creature with a Shamligas Death trigger. But what we're really trying to do with Maha is turn it into a hard lock piece for a creature. So if we can get down Maha, which we'll always have access to because it's in our command zone, all we need to do to lock creatures out of the game is play something like Knight of Souls Betrayal, which gives all creatures -1/-1, or Karavek the Spiteful, which is the same thing but on a creature instead of an enchantment. So you probably see the plan here. If all of our opponent's creatures have 1 toughness and all creatures get -1/-1, it essentially will kill everything on the battlefield and make it so our opponent can't play any more creatures until they deal with one of the combo pieces. So that's the main goal of the deck. And we got a bunch of tutors, of course, in the deck to find our Karaveks, to find our Knight of Souls Betrayal, because we're always going to have our Maha. However, there's one downside to this plan. So this plan locks creatures out of the game, but it doesn't actually do anything about the cards in our opponent's hand. They could still cast spells, for example, or planeswalkers, or maybe they have answers in their hand to break out from under our lock. But we have a plan for this too. So once we lock creatures out of the game, the final step is to get rid of all the cards in our opponent's hand. And we have a hilarious way to do this. We do have a bunch of just like normal discard, like our friend Bugler Rat. But really, the main plan is to tutor up Awaken the Erstwhile. So Awaken the Erstwhile is a 5-mana sorcery that says each player discards all the cards in their hand and then creates that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. So this means Maha can essentially lock our opponent's hand out of the game as well. We get down the lock, we cast Awaken the Erstwhile, everyone discards their hand, everyone's supposed to get a bunch of 2/2 zombies, but our opponent's zombies are going to be 2/1 zombies because of Maha, and then we have our Knight of Souls Betrayal, so they're all just going to die. So essentially our opponent has to discard their hand, and then all their zombies just die, and they lose the game. And that's the plan of the deck. Otherwise, like I said, we got some backup discard, we're in black, so we get some good removal, we get some ramp, card draw like Phyrexian Arena in the 1 ring. We also get to check out a new Dorina card in Liliana of the Dark Realms in squirrel form. And I gotta say, Liliana, the card doesn't do anything super specific in the deck, but I think this card is just kind of like an auto-include in any mono black deck in Brawl because it's so perfect. It's +1 is grabbing us swamps, it works as removal. If we ever ultimate it, we make ridiculous amounts of mana with all of our swamps tapping for 4. So that is our Owl Lock deck. That's our Against the Odds deck for this week. Let's jump into some games and see just how realistic it is to lock people out of the game all together with Maha, Knight of Souls Betrayal, and Awaken the Erstwhile. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. It is Maha time. We are seeing what arena zoomers will do if they can't have any creatures ever because of Maha. And this hand looks pretty good. We have the Knight of Souls Betrayal in hand. We need to hit another land, but if we hit the land, we got some ramp, and this hand might do at least step 1. So step 1 of the process, Maha, some way to lock creatures out of the game. Step 2 of the process, hopefully wipe our opponent's hand with Awaken the Erstwhile to make it so they can't do anything. That's the dream. We'll see how it goes. Opponent's on Kiora. Well, Swamp Go. Show us a land. Ooh, all right. Well, Liliana, Chickmunk, Squirrel Liliana, will get us more lands once we find, oh, we really need a land this turn. Thing in the Ice. Ooh, all right. Well, actually, let's just kill the Thing in the Ice. We could ramp here, but I am kind of scared. If our opponent's playing Thing in the Ice, they might have a way to flip it quick, and that would be annoying. Tap land. And passes. Wow, okay. Well, I guess we're just gonna draw lands. This Liliana is actually pretty good at a mono black deck. Like, just, if you can uptick maybe 2 times. So first, it can just be a 4-mana removal spell most of the time. Plus, if you can uptick a couple times, drawing 2 swamps is pretty good. Our deck doesn't mind a lot of mana, because there is a world where we want to get to 9 and we can like Knight of Souls, Betrayal, Maha on the same turn. See what we do next turn. I'm actually not sure. Cold Steel, our opponent gonna do some ramping. If we had 1 more mana, we could like kick the Skyclave Relic. Let's take up Lily, grab another swamp. I mean, I guess there's also a world where we ultimate Lily, which that's a lot of mana. Our opponent doesn't even have any creatures, so I'm not a big rush to run out of Maha or a Knight of Souls Betrayal, especially with our opponent leaving a blue mana. Let's just play the Burnished Heart. If it lives, sweet. If it doesn't live, sweet, I guess. Like, it's not the end of the world. Opponent. Kiora. All right, well, thankfully, this Liliana can deal with the Kiora. We are going to have to pay 1,000,000 mana for this ward, but seems worth it. Liliana's kind of popping off this game. So, Liliana hit the Kiora. Pay the ward. Ooh, okay. I guess our opponent gets to untap with Kiora. The good news is, even if our opponent puts a bunch of big sea creatures into play, Maha Knight of Souls Betrayal, it kills them all. It's gonna kill them all. I guess what we're hoping for here is we get to chump with the Burnished Heart and then sack it to do a little ramping. What did that get us to? 6, 7, 8, 9. That actually gets us to 9. Wow. Gonna activate this land I've never seen before. Scry 3 and give us a boon where our next creature is gonna enter tapped. I mean, Maha works the same tapped as untapped. Opponent does a bunch of scrying. Yeah, I've never seen that land before. First, I mean, it's an alchemy card, so I guess it's not a surprise, but gonna conjure some krakens, perhaps. Conjure a kraken hatchling, probably better known as a creature that's going to get locked by Maha. We probably just assemble the lock here. Let's block with the Burnished Heart, keep the Lily alive, sack the Burnished Heart, do a little ramping. So it's 5, 6, 7, 8. Land drop is 9. I mean, 9 is the magic number to play both. Ooh, Dread Presence. Well, let's snag a swamp with Lily. I don't know if our opponent can beat this. I mean, that's kind of the the whole gimmick, is our opponent hopefully can't beat the lock. Maha, it's Feathers Knight, sure, gonna get tapped down, we don't really care. Knight of Souls Betrayal. So all of your creatures have 1 toughness, all creatures get -1, -1. You cannot play creatures forever, or at least until you kill one of our combo pieces. Okay, so the last step is some discard to get rid of our opponent's hand. That's the final piece of the puzzle. Oh, they're looking at the Knight of Souls Betrayal. Ooh, do they have an answer? Okay, Behold the Multiverse, sure. Until they answer this, they can't do anything. Eventually this Maha will untap and beat them down. Plus we got the Viper and this Dread Presence, so we do have a clock. Opponent, 2 to the top, right? They must have found an answer. Okay, Growth Spiral, not an answer. A little bit more ramping. I mean, the thing is, what are you ramping into? If you can't play creatures, all they're playing Eldrazi doesn't really matter. It's still gonna die. Opponent, conjuring up more useless Krakens and pass it. Oh my god, that's Awaken the Erstwhile. That's like the dream. That is the dream. Okay, so tick up. I mean, that is the fullest full combo. Grab a swamp. Probably play the Dread Presence. Play the swamp, draw a card, and now Awaken the Erstwhile. Hands discarded, everyone gets a 2/2 for each card discarded, except they have 1 toughness, and there's a Knight of Souls Betrayal. Oh, we just Maha'd away their board and their hand. This seems so brutal. Opponent, digging up Kiora. Sure, more Krakens. Well, I mean, ooh, no boots too. I mean, I guess we might as well. Wow, our opponent drew the counter spell at turn too late. If they had that last turn, they would have at least got to keep their hand. Well, we'll get a swamp, we'll play a swamp, we'll draw a card, and ooh, all right, we'll sack a zombie to draw 2 more cards. And we'll Sign in Blood, draw 2 more cards, and all lands. All right, well, I guess we should kill the Kiora. I don't even know if this really... An opponent scoops it up, and, well, that's what Maha can do. No creatures, no hand, good luck trying to play Magic. I'm surprised our opponent stuck it out as long as they did, honestly. It is time to lock some Arena Zoomers out of the game. with Maha, which might be the new most brutal Brawl Commander. My goodness, can this card punish creature decks? And hopefully non-creature decks with our discard plan. This hand seems fine. I mean, we got some ramp, we got some card draw. Opponent's on Joda, which is a little frightening. Joda is a scary commander, and ooh, okay, Thoughtseize is good. I guess we just Celestis Thoughtseize, probably. Celestis, Thoughtseize you. What are we working with? 3 Ras, an extra turn spell, and an Avacyn. All right, we're gonna take the Time Warp. I don't even know if that's correct. It might be better to take the Avacyn, but Time Warp is extra turn spells. All right, well, we get a Celestis trigger. Let's discard the Deluge. Hopefully we won't need that. Play the One Ring. I mean, the thing is, we don't need the Deluge, right? If we get down Maha and a piece to go with it, because that works like a permanent Deluge, but only for our opponent. Joda. All right, let's see if we can draw a removal spell, please. Fountain Port. One Ring. Actually, let's just kick this Skyclave Relic. And then we can do some One Ringing. No removal anyway. We did get a Deadly Dispute. I mean, we got a lot of mana. So opponent's going to be able to play this Avacyn for free, which is kind of brutal. The thing is, we have the mana that we can draw a bunch of cards if we can just find, Knight of Souls Betrayal or Karavik to go with the Maha. We just answer this forever, even through the indestructibility. We just do not care. Opponent hits us down to 19, we untap. One Ring, down to 17, Prismatic Vesta. Well, thin the deck. Show us that Knight of Souls Betrayal, One Ring. You have the power. One Ring. Don't fail us now. Yeah, One Ring, draw 3. Huh. Gray Merchant? So I guess we just try to stay alive for another turn, and then next turn we get another shot at drawing 4 at least, and we have a Deadly Dispute, so we're gonna be able to draw a lot of cards. So we gain 1 with the Celestis. All we need is to find the piece to go with Maha. We got everything else. A Tutor would do it. Knight of Souls Betrayal, Karavik. Massacre Girl is very good with Maha and Knight of Souls Betrayal. I mean, we're only taking 12 this turn, so we're not... Oh. All right, another extra turn spell. Well, apparently Arena Zoomers are teaching us about extra turn spells that game. Seeing if Arena Zoomers can win when they can't play creatures forever, and maybe also have no hand. With some very, very brutal Maha. Maha is, what a salty commander. This hand looks pretty good. So we don't have a lock piece to go with Maha, but we got a bunch of card draw. We got a Wrath. I mean, I guess Toxic Deluge, it's not a lock piece. Let's just Bandit's Talent, make you discard. Opponent's on Eldrazi. One thing I will say about Maha is I think it does end up in the like push commander bracket, the hell queue, so to speak. Because I think it is salty enough that you tend to play against powerful commanders quite a bit. Not that it matters, because powerful commander, not powerful commander. If you can't ever play creatures, you're probably in for a rough go of it. Toxic Deluge, it's not a lock piece with Maha, but it is very good, right? So we can, with Maha, Toxic Deluge X1 is going to kill all of our opponent's stuff, and theoretically, none of our stuff, or not much of our stuff. Opponent going to get rid of a random Eldrazi. Well, let's level up the Bandit's Talent. What do you got? Acquisitions Expert's pretty good sack fodder to this Deadly Dispute. Worst case, next turn we can just draw a bunch of cards. Sowing Microspawn, I think, is my most played commander card from Modern Horizons 3 so far. Any green deck, I jam it in. I think it's worth. All right, opponent going to grab a Command Tower. Ooh, okay. Well, let's draw some cards. Insatiable Avarice is better next turn. Once we can kick it. Tutor and kick and find the Knight of Souls Betrayal. Usually, so if you're looking for a lock piece to go with Maha, Knight of Souls Betrayal is number 1, just because enchantments are harder to kill than creatures. Karavik does the same thing, but more decks can kill Karavik than can kill Knight of Souls Betrayal. Opponent, Cavern on Eldrazi, Dreamstone Hedron. All right, opponent is doing some serious ramping here. We're going to sack this Acquisitions Expert pretty much no matter what. Deadly Dispute, sack the Acquisitions Expert. Draw a couple of cards. Now what? I guess we gotta play Fell the Profane as a land and just start doing some drawing with the One Ring. We have this Toxic Deluge, so what we kind of want is our opponent to run out their commander, and then we can deluge, and then we'll keep drawing cards, and hopefully find the Knight of Souls Betrayal to go with the Maha for the hard lock. Opponent. All right, it's Eldrazi time. I mean, it is kind of like Super Eldrazi Panharmonicon Commander. I don't think they have enough mana to do it here, though, right? Opponent, all right, gonna cast an Eldrazi. Does not have the double colorless, though, to copy it. Take the beats of 0. One ring, even rebalanced One Ring is incredibly strong. Ooh. Interesting. There's a Karavek. Oh, well, we got a Toxic Deluge here. 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're still a couple turns away from playing everything at once. But we do get to hard reset the board here. And I guess we just... Oh yeah, they get a Scion. We will play the Bauble. And Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Go. Oh, boat it. Apparently Toxic Deluge, enough to get the concession. Didn't even need, we had literally the full lock, but our opponent didn't stick around. Oh boy, Kenrith, eh? Kenrith is one of those cards. I kind of feel like Kenrith should not exist. We did a podcast about commander cards that we thought shouldn't exist. For me, 5-color good stuff commanders should not exist. I think they're cards that we just shouldn't print. I love 5-color commanders, but I feel like 5-color commanders need to have some sort of theme or direction attached to them. Just like, you get to play all 5 colors, and I just do a bunch of good... Ooh, all right, no lands. I mean, I guess we still have to take Numa for next turn, which is fine. It gets us to the Obelisk, which gets us to the second Ram spell. Colorless Cultivate. Opponent. But yeah, so I kind of feel like Kenrith is just like an example of 5-color commanders. You could also argue that about like Joda or something. Just 5-color commanders that don't push you into a specific deck or a specific theme or a specific tribe or whatever. Those, I think, just don't print them. Well, let's play Take Numa and get down the Navigation Orb and crack the Navigation Orb. Grab a couple Schwamps. I mean, we're doing all right here. Opponent did manage to fix their mana with this Chromatic Lantern. Old border, so respect. Augur of Autumn. Opponent needs to find a land on the top of their deck, I think, or hoping to find a land. Okay, opponent hits a land. And Foreboding Landscape cracked. Maybe our opponent's a landfall deck. We're seeing some janky fetch lands. It makes me think our opponent's like 5-color landfall. Everything we've seen so far, Augur, the weird fetch lands, that stuff that would work really well in some sort of landfall deck. I guess run out Vein Ripper? Running out Maha doesn't do a ton, right? Like giving Augur -2 toughness doesn't really do anything at the moment. Vein Ripper, on the other hand, I mean, I guess it doesn't do anything either, but even harder to kill than Maha. Vein Ripper's ward is so strong. Man, such a strong ward. So strong that Wizards probably should not keep printing wards of that caliber. Huh? Scape Ship with 4 lands? All right, yeah. I mean, that's a plan. I mean, I guess this confirms that our opponent's some sort of landfall shenanigan deck, but this is one of the weakest Scape Shifts I think I've ever seen. I don't know if I've ever seen a Scape Shift so bad. So opponent, Reliquary Tower, World Tree, and more janky fetch lands. Okay, Fabled Passage, sure. I mean, I imagine that's not what they're trying to do with Scape Shift. Fountain Port, and let's just play Morbid Opportunist, go to combat, smack you with the Vein Ripper. We'll just pass, make a token with the Fountain Port. The Fountain Port token's gonna work well with the Tarian's Journal too. Oh, okay, so definitely landfall stuff. Kasima, that would have been way better for our opponent pre-Scape Shift. I don't know about firing off that Scape Shift so early. It felt like our opponent was missing their land drop, maybe? I don't even know. I almost thought they were missing their land drop and just wanted to change the top card. No, they're cycling away land, so I don't think they're missing. I don't know why they Scape Shift so early. Because Scape Shift with Kasima out's actually really good. Well, Fountain Port, make a fish. Actually, we probably could have made a treasure there, couldn't we? Whatever. Ooh, there's a Grim Tutor. Wait, we're kind of close to the lock now. The problem is, we're also kind of close to killing our opponent with Vein Ripper. Tarian. Writing about the minnows. Sacking a fish, draining you, drawing a card with Morbid Opportunist, the synergies. Yeah, that was pretty nice, yeah. We sacked a fish to a Tarian's Journal with a Morbid Opportunist out. Broke it. Did we break it? Grim Tutor. Can you imagine what we're going to get? Not even thinking about it. It's always Knight of Souls Betrayal. We came here to do what? We didn't come here to win. We came here to suck away our opponent's souls by locking creatures out of the game. About it. Down to 11. Next turn we can just play the whole lock, right? So there's not really any reason to run out half of it now, I don't think. This lets us Fountain Port again. We can Fountain Port, make a fish, sack the fish before we lock fish out of the game. Kenrith the Return King. All right, so opponent definitely not missing land drops. Kazima starting to get some counters. So the Kazima is going to survive the lock. So one thing about this lock, what gets around it? Creature buff. So if our opponent has like Anthem effects to give their creatures extra toughness, +1/+1 counters, that can allow creatures to live even through our Maha lock. Well, make the fish, play the land, crack the land. Thankfully, our opponent does not have any of those things. Do we just win right now if we wrath our opponent's board? I mean, we're going to do it. Play the Maha. Play the Knight of Souls Betrayal. We get to draw either way because of the Morbid Opportunist, so we don't even have to use the Tarian's Journal. Opponent. Kenrith, returning to command zone. Vein Ripper. Trigger, trigger, trigger. Oh, wait, we're just short of winning, right? Oh, so close. So close. Hit ya. Down to 5. Yeah, I guess we can reanimate Augur Bottom. We're not doing anything else with this reanimate. Land on top, but we already played one. All right, well, opponent, I don't know how you get out of this. Creatures are locked. If our opponent, Druid's Glass, if our opponent wraths, they die to Vein Ripper. Opponent's deck does look cool. I like the idea of our opponent's deck. About it. Druid Glass and Kazima, sure. But how do you get out of this? Opponent goes up to 6 thanks to the Druid Class. Opponent's thinking about it, trying to find their way out. Can you find a way past the brutality of Maha? Also, Vein Ripper's done some work this game. Opponent, I think they're playing every fetch on Arena. Maybe that's their YouTube video. I played every fetch on Arena in the same deck. Here's what happened. I lost to Maha. Locking all of my creatures out of the game. Oh, except Kazima. Kazima gets to live since it comes into play with a bunch of counters. I don't think this matters, though. In the grand scheme of things, I'm not convinced this actually changes anything. They need a Wrath, right? But they can't Wrath? Actually, I guess they could Wrath. No, they can't Wrath. Awaken. Oh, boy, that's... That's not gonna do what you want. Oh god. Opponent decides to trigger our Vein Ripper and our Morbid Opportunist a bunch of times by casting an Awaken the Woods and scoops it up. Well, honestly, I don't think they were getting out of that anyway, but yeah, Awaken the Woods. Not very good against our deck. Got him. Trying to hardlock Arena Zoomers with Maha and Knight of Souls Betrayal. And I think we're going to take our free mull here. Ooh, all right, this hand is interesting. Bloodghast has some sneaky synergies, and we got the Phyrexian Tower to go with it. So we can actually ramp into Maha pretty quick. Opponent Thalia and the Gitrog monster. Well, let's see what you're working with over there, opponent. Thought sees you. Meatball. Yeah, we're taking Key to the Archive. Key to the Archive is the Fear of the Unknown card. Like, it is very strong. Plus, Reckoner Bankbuster. Plus, you never know what they could hit off of that. Could hit a Time Warp or something silly. Well, let's do some ramping. Opponent, Underground Mortuary. Surveils away another land. And gonna draw with a Bankbuster. Let's do some sneaky synergies. Bloodghast. Sack the Bloodghast for 2 mana to the Phyrexian Arena. These are the kind of plays that make you feel smart, even though they don't do anything. Court Official, make you discard. I mean, it kind of does something, but for the amount of actions we have to take, the impact we are making on the game is rather minimal. Opponent discards the Meatball Massacre. We get back to Bloodghast with our land drop and pass the turn. Bloodghast is why we're playing fetch lands, by the way. You're probably thinking, why are you playing fetch lands in a mono black deck? The answer is purely more ways to get back Bloodghast. Twilight Prophet, eh? Well, we probably need to kill that. Sack the Bloodghast, make 2 mana. Play the land, get back the Bloodghast. Felda Profane, MDFC to take down the Twilight Prophet. I think we're just gonna hold on to the fetch land. We could crack it and play the Elderfang Disciple, but I think we'd rather just save it to do more Bloodghast shenanigans in the future. About it. This Bankbuster is generating some card advantage. That's probably less than ideal. Alright, Prismatic Ending to take down the Bloodghast. That's annoying. And we know there's a Go for the Throat in hand. So if we run out Maha, it is just going to die. I mean, I guess our opponent is going to have to... Ooh, okay, Liliana's actually not bad. Play Lily. Take it up for a swamp. Liliana's not bad. Just being able to draw some swamps seems reasonable. And now there's no reason to hold on to our fetch anymore since Bloodghast is gone forever. Sadly. And Elderfang Disciple make you discard. This Bankbuster is really keeping our opponent in the game. I think if they didn't have the Bankbuster for extra cards, we pretty much... Wow, Emrakul, my god. I'm glad that's discarded. If our opponent didn't have the Bankbuster for extra cards, they'd pretty much be empty-handed by now. Instead, they have more cards in hand than us. What are we going to do with this Grim Tutor? Normally, we're just getting a lock piece, but I don't know if there's any point in trying to assemble a lock here because we know there's a Go for the Throat. Alright, there's Thali and the Gitrog Monster. Opponent passing. That might have some value. I mean, we can just snipe this. I will say, I've been very impressed with Squirrel. Kill the Thali and the Gitrog Monster. I feel like it's just kind of a mono black staple in Brawl. Like, if you're playing mono black, I don't know if there's a reason not to play Liliana. What are we getting here? We can just still take the lock and hope we draw into it. Ooh, Cruelty of Gix seems good. That's a lot of value, although we are going to, yeah, let's just play this as a land. I mean, in our dream world, right, we can Cruelty of Gix, take a peek at our opponent's hand, maybe get rid of something, then we can tutor up a lock piece with Maha, or something else, and then we can reanimate Emrakul. Oh, Binding the All Gods. All right. Well, Liliana, even in this scenario, what do we get? 2 swamps and killed Thalia? That's not bad for 4 mana. That's still pretty reasonable. Found it. Fires up the Bankbuster. Well, we might as well start chumping. If we ever get a Knight of Souls Betrayal, these ones are gonna die anyway. Stand 19. Draw a Celestis. So we can Celestis into the Cruelty of Gix. Good thing we played the Cruelty post Binding the Old Gods. That would have been bad for us. All right, we're going to start at the beginning, I think. See, our opponent has shown they have some bomby creatures. We already see the Emrakul in the graveyard, so we know that they have good creatures in their deck. Oh! We can deal with the Fatal Push. We can deal with the Go for the Throw. What is going to be incredibly bad for us, though, is Casualties of War. And our opponent has the mana for it. Slain Blow Up, Creature, Enchantment, Art. Oh my god. Casualties of War. Speaking of brutal, this is a brutality. Yeah, the little, what, 5-for-1 or something? Yeah. Well, yeah. And now we got nothing. And Maha can't even really save us because we know they just go for the throw. We see it staring back at us. We need a really good draw here. Tyrion's Journal is not exactly it. I mean, I guess we can flip it. That's kind of cute. We can flip it more or less for free because we got no cards to discard. And then we can start recasting our discard dorks to try to live. Still don't know if we can survive this Casualties, though. That Casualty was so good. Oh my god! All right, Beseju on the Tyrion's Journal. Yeah. Wow, our opponent has actually just, like, thoroughly smacked us this game. Our opponent is a believer in playing interaction, and my god, did they draw a lot of interaction. I think it might just be scoop 'em up time. Score 1 for the Arena Zoomers. Whew. Lock in some more Arena Zoomers out of the game, hopefully. With Maha, and this hand is actually pretty good because of Dark Ritual. Honestly, Dark Ritual probably is too good for Arena. Turn 1, Navigation Orb. Even when it's turn 1 Navigation Orb, it's still pretty good. It's not like busted or anything, but I feel like just the extra mana, it's so strong. Now we get to turn 2, crack the Navigation Orb. Turn 3, get down our Lily probably, and we can Thoughtseize this turn. It's a pretty good start. Well, Thoughtseize you. What are we working with, opponent? Crossing Grip, Midnight Clock, Invasion of Innistrad. Well, I think we just take the Thought Erasure. Against our opponent's hand, this Lily should do some serious work. They don't have an answer to it. They don't have a way to pressure it. So I feel like we're just going to be able to grab a ton of swamps here. We might actually even be able to ultimate. We haven't ultimated this Lily yet. All of your tamps, your tamps swamping, your swamps tapping for 4 mana is kind of wild. And ooh, Merfolk Secret Keeper. Oh, I guess that makes sense with a Alchemy Nashi. You want cards in your graveyard to conjure. Grab a swamp. And I guess we might as well just sign in blood, draw a couple of cards, and ooh, well, let's undo our opponent's milling here. Bogart Trawler. I gotta say, Bogart Trawler is one of those MDFCs that when it first came out, people were a little meh on. It looks bad, right? 3 mana for a creature that exiles a graveyard. I have found it to be very good. I found it good in Commander. I found it good in Brawl. I haven't played it much in 60 card formats, but it is really solid. I would say it's like, honestly, almost Pajuka Bog level. So I guess it depends on how you feel about Pajuka Bog, but well, let's take up, grab a swamp. I think we're actually gonna ultimate here. We can play a Burnished Heart. I mean, if we're gonna ultimate this Lily, we want as many swamps as possible. We gotta crack it right away because of Crossing Grip. Split second means there's no sacking in response. Opponent's taking up the clock. We're gonna have an absurd amount of mana unless they can answer this Lily like right now. That Bogart Trawler, ooh, big Lily. Okay. The Bogart Trawler really shut down our opponent's commander. Opponent, Lily makes a sack, draws a card. Well, let's use Lily's best here, opponent. Let's see. We are going to Ultimate Lily. Emblem. Swamps we control tap for 4 mana. So, I guess we just dump our hand. I mean, Rottenmouth Viper, full price, sure, why not? Opponent, would you like to discard? Or sack? Or take 4? I mean, if our opponent finds a Wrath or something, they can still win this game. Massacre Girl off of a single land. Maha, run that out too, might as well. Morbid Opportunist, yeah, I guess we just pass. Opponent takes up the climb. I mean, opponent needs something very, very good here to get back. They need a Wrath. They need a Wrath right now. Invasion of Innistrad. Gonna go after what? The Viper? All right, well, sack the Viper. Draw 3 cards, thanks to the Morbid Opportunist and the Village Rites. Land, boots. All right, well, those were not very good cards. I mean, I don't know if it really matters. How long does our opponent stick around? Opponent.
A new toy.
And takes up that clock and scoops it up. We are, oh boy. Wait, is this turn 1 Lily? Dark Ritual's so busted. I honestly, it's funny, Demonic Tutor is banned. I actually think that, considering Grim Tutor and stuff exists, I actually think that in Brawl, Dark Ritual might be scarier than Demonic Tutor. Opponent does some mulliganing. Well, we will turn 1, land, and Dark Ritual, and, well, let's punish the mulliganing. Liliana. And well, opponent scoops it up. Yeah, Dark Ritual, not bad. I don't think they could have stopped the ultimate there. Dragon Hawker. All right, Dragon Hawker. This hand, we got some synergy, right? We got a little Bloodghast, a little sack in the Bloodghast, making some maps, drawing some cards. What do you think about Unstable Obelisk? I feel like it's really good on Arena, right? Because there's not as many mana rocks. Or good enough on Arena, at least. I kind of wonder if I should play it more in Commander. Ooh. Diabolic Intent to go with this Bloodghast is pretty spicy. I wonder if I should play it more. Like, having a mana rock that in the late game, I know P7 blow up a permanent, it's a lot of mana, but still, in a deck like ours that's mono black, we don't really have ways to kill artifacts. It's a way we can get it done. Do we have Fanatical? Yeah, let's Fanatical Offering first. We can Fanatical Offering, sack the Bloodghast, draw a couple cards, play the land, get back the Bloodghast. Crack the map on the Bloodghast. Even more lands. Discard to hand. I guess we should keep the fetch. We'll discard a swamp to hand size. Okay. Well, we cast a bunch of things. We activated a lot of our cards. We didn't do much. That is a Dragon Hawker. Yeah, that's an issue. We do have the Toxic Deluge. We might just have to Deluge this turn to get that off the battlefield. Vein Ripper. Well, let's play the Mind Stone and then Toxic Deluge for 5. Dragon Hawker is very good. Very good. I have been impressed with the Dragon Hawk. Opponent's going to put it back to the command zone. I mean, we're up to 6 mana next turn, so we can Vein Ripper. We can also try to start getting the lock set up. Azur's Gateway. We can, like, play the land, get back to Bloodghast, maybe play the Morbid Opportunist, sack the Bloodghast to the Diabolic Intent. Or are we foretelling? What are we doing? Oh, they were, okay, Azur's Gateway, sure. Let's play the land, get back to Bloodghast. Yeah, let's just do the Morbid Opportunist line. Play the Morbid Opportunist, sack the Bloodghast, draw a card with the Opportunist. I think we go for Knight of Souls Betrayal. See if we can lock this Dragonhawker out of the game forever. Past the turn. We don't have enough mana to do it all at once, but we can do it across 2 turns. And Inferno. Okay, that might change things a little bit. That might mean that we need to play Vein Ripper next turn to have a blocker. Yeah, let's crack the fetch, get back to Bloodghast. Yeah, we don't really have the time here to set up the lock without dying. We draw another swamp. So I think we got a Vein Ripper to defend against this Inferno and then try to set the... Oh, we're going to be at 7 mana, set the lock up over the next couple turns. Well, get in with the Bloodghast. Can't block anyway. Hit you down to 23. I mean, I guess we can Maha, but then we're probably going to have to chump with it, and then it's going to be so much mana to get back. I really want to set up the lock, but I think we just got a Vein Ripper here, so we don't die to this Inferno. The Raging Inferno of the Starmount. What do we got? Oh, God. Hiragast. Oh, God. Okay, Hiragast. Drain, you draw a card. All right. All right. Opponent's doing some emerging. Sure. Ironcrag? No. Okay, so now everything has a merge. Opponent did not exile their hand, which is... Oh, cheap. All right. Well, how about a... what was that? A 1-mana Ulamog the Defiler with 10 counters on it? How about a Lily off the top? How about a Lily? So Annihilator triggers Vein Ripper a bunch of times, but our opponent's at 19. The lock doesn't even do anything because this has 10 counters on it. So it doesn't kill it. Not that we can assemble it anyway. So Knight of Souls Betrayal would kill the Bloodghast and draw us a card. Mindstone also just... We gotta hit a removal spell. Come on, Liliana the Veil. Liliana the Veil. Off the top. Well. Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool way to die, though. I will give our opponent credit. Playing against Dragonhawk again. Can we get a revenge? Can we get a revenge? Last time, Dragonhawk emerges into oblivion. Now Maha, the owl, wants its comeuppance. Ooh, all right, opponent. Ramp Varix, Lava Coil, Charming Scoundrel. I guess we take Charming Scoundrel. That means our opponent needs to draw land to get to their 3-mana mana rock, and they can't just treasure into it. We will play a Guardian Idol. Go. Well, opponent hits the land. Lantern of Revealing. Ooh, Hippie. Oh, it's just gonna die. Let's corrupt court official. See if we can get our opponent to discard the Lava Coil. It seems possible, right? Okay, opponent discards Lava Coil. That's good. So now, perhaps, this Hypnotic Spectre can do some work. They can just Dragonhawk her here if they want to. Thankfully, we do have Heartless Act. Opponent's gonna go with Varix. I mean, I guess that makes for a better Dragonhawker next turn, since it's another 4-power creature. In that case, let's just start drawing some cards. Our opponent's gonna most likely have 2 flyers, so the Hypnotic Spectre is not gonna be getting in yet anyway. See if we can draw into the lock, perhaps. We need our revenge on the Dragonhawk opponent. Dragonhawk. Let's kill the... I guess the Dragonhawk. We can take the beats from the Varix. Minimize the number of Dragonhawk triggers our opponent gets. Draws a card, sure. And it's in. Now, man, we better not lose to Dragonhawk twice in a row. Cityscape Leveler. Ooh, there's a Knight of Souls Betrayal. Okay, and this is a red deck. Red is not good at killing enchantments. That is one of their weaknesses. Used to be true black as well, but not anymore. So... let's sacrifice this Corrupt Court Official since it's about to die anyway. We can play Hypnotic Spectre, play Knight of Souls Betrayal, and then next turn, we just end him. We end him. There is no coming back from the lock, I don't think, for the Maha. I mean, they could kill the Maha maybe, but even Maha is going to be tough for Mono Red. Ooh, Tyrant of Care Ridges. Where are we going? Are we going face? We going hippie? All right, opponent's all gonna kill the Hypnotic Spectre. Well, we will avenge the death of Hypnotic Spectre here. Maha does not like its little frying friend to be killed. We get to draw a card and also draw a card. And we'll play the Trisanctum. Maha, it's Feathers Night and you're bored. It's Feathers dead. Yeah, all right, opponent. How do you like us now, Dragonhawker? How do you like us now? We even get to do some conniving. We'll discard the Massacre Girl since I don't think our opponent's gonna have any creatures anymore. Opponent, Collector's Vault, sure. I mean, we got a pretty fast clock even. Opponent, Unexpected Windfall, discards a mountain, makes some treasures, draws a couple of cards. But how do you beat the owl? How do you beat the owl with the Knight of Souls Betrayal? Opponent's thinking, realizing that their life is over, and they scoop it up, and, well, revenge was achieved. Doing some brawling this week, looking to lock some Arena Zoomers with Maha. And this hand's fine-ish, relatively. Up against Felco. Gilligoose Hong Kong. Sure. I'll play the land, get down the Cold Steel Heart. We might have to run out this Bogart Trawler to have a body to sack the village rights if we don't find something. I mean, I guess we can Bandit's Talent at some point. Opponents. Land and Incubation Druid. I feel like Incubation Druid's a little bit underrated still. Like, it is 5 to actually turn it on, but once it starts tapping for 3, it's pretty good. Yeah, let's just take Numa. Maybe we just go full-on lock mode? We could just tutor up. Huh. Yeah, let's just do what we came here to do. Tutor for Knight of Souls Betrayal. I mean, this is one of those cases where there's probably a pretty, like, strong argument to be like, all right, we're not going to take Knight of Souls Betrayal. We're going to take One Ring or something and just, like, draw cards, and we'll find it eventually. Ooh, cool, Questing Beast. And we'll find it eventually, but it's so hard to pass up just locking our opponent out of the game. Well, the Bloodghast does work well with the village rights. Although once we Knight of Souls Betrayal, it works much less well. Well, Knight of Souls Betrayal. Shrink 'em, and yeah, play the Trawler. Well, at least the Questing Beast is down to a 3/3. Opponent is in colors that, at least in theory, can interact with Knight of Souls Betrayal. We'll see if they can in practice. Sovereign Unattack. Ow. All right. Well, that's fine. That's just another thing to die to our Maha. I wonder if our opponent knows how bad this is about to go for them. Opponent hits us down to 15. We draw a Hogramolling. Well, it is owl time. Maha, it's Feathers Night with the Knight of Souls Betrayal. Opponent, they need something. Wow, all right. Well, the Owl Wrath has arrived, and opponent's got to deal with one of these pieces before they play another creature. I almost wish if Maha had Vein Ripper's ward, it would be almost unbeatable. Because then you wouldn't be able to ever sack a creature, right? Because how are you going to get a creature through the lock? Its ward is still good. All right, Uro. Actually, basically Euro Spiral. I'm gonna immediately die, thanks to Maha, but opponent gets to draw a card, gain some life. It is a little awkward that we have locked our Bloodghast out of the game, I will say. We'd kind of like to sack that to this village rights, but we can't complain. Our opponent is not able to play creatures, so even we will accept not being able to play our Bloodghast. That is a low cost for the that actually does kind of shut down our opponent just Uroing a bunch, because it's gonna have low enough toughness that we can draw a card. Plus, like, what else are we really doing here? Might as well run it out. Wither up the team. I mean, I guess worst case, if they find removal, we can sack Massacre Girl to draw cards or something, or the Maha. Opponent. Cavern. Unbird. Okay, so opponent found an answer. Time Wipe. Well, we might as well. Part of the problem for our opponent here is we can just replay the Maha and the lock is reassembled. Although we might actually not play it this turn. Our opponent doesn't have a creature at the moment, so it's not like we have to play it. Let's correct this fetch. 1/2/1. We could just like play and fully level up the Bandit's Talent and get rid of our opponent's last card. And then our opponent probably gets back Uro or something, but then we can Maha to just Wrath it. If we fully level it up, we also get a Phyrexian Arena, basically, as long as our opponent's hand stays low, which it should. So Bandit's Talent. This deck actually seems pretty good. Opponent, wow, is another Wrath. Okay, well, I'm glad that's gone. Take up the Bandit's talent. Take up the We have a clock now. We have a clock. 12 turns, opponent. 12 turns and this Bandit talent's gonna get you. Actually, way more than that because they have Uro and food, but still, 2 damage a turn. It adds up very slowly. So I guess our question, ooh, Kyrie. That's gonna get back a bunch of Wraths. I mean, I guess we do need to kill it. The only way we can really directly kill it is just play Maha. I mean, I guess there's not a reason not to Maha. So the problem is when this dies, they're going to be able to mill a bunch of cards and get back 2 Wraths from their graveyard. So they are just going to kill the Maha again. But even this is pretty good. That's part of the power, I think, of this lock is even if our opponent deals with it eventually, it works like a Wrath. Like it's like a 5-mana Wrath that leaves behind this massive body. Opponent mills a bunch of cards. Yeah, it's going to be Wrath and Wrath, I assume, back to the hand. Couple of Wraths. Well, let's play the Shambling. Oh, that was actually kind of stupid. Well, we get a treasure, which was the idea. We could have just thought seized, though. That probably would have been smarter than making a treasure. I guess it doesn't really matter with 2 Wraths in hand. Like, they're going to have a Wrath no matter what. So if they want to kill the Maha, they can. So I guess this is fine, and then next turn we Thought Seize and take the other Wrath. The other reason to Thought Seize is it gets our opponent lower on cards for the Bandit's talent. Like, we might not get to draw with, well, yeah, they also have Uro. Maybe we were going to draw either way. Regardless, Thought Seize probably was still better there. Opponent, Uro, and draws a card, and gains some life, and Uro dies, of course, because Knight of Souls Betrayal Maha, pretty good. Why did they do it in that order? All right, then our opponent Wraths. Oh, maybe they need to hit a land. I guess that makes sense. Well, let's play the Liliana, take it up for a Schwamp. And now we will indeed Thought Seize you. And yeah, you can keep the Loam Speaker. That's fine. Solemn? Do a little rampant? At some point, our opponent's going to play Felco, I assume. 2. Yeah, our opponent could have had the Uro left over, right? If they didn't need a land, they could have Wrath first and then Uro. Ooh. Well, Knight of Autumn, actually a pretty good draw, because that does get rid of the Knight of Souls Betrayal. I mean, so I guess the lock is done. For now. For now, we could find Karavek still. So there's still a way we can reassemble it. But regardless, it put us pretty far ahead, I think. I'm feeling like we're pretty far ahead in this game. Even though our opponent has more life and we're close on cards, because we have the Bandit's talent going. There's the Uro. Because we have the Bandit's talent going, I'm still feeling pretty good about where we're at, really. All right, Scryland off the Uro. This Uro's been cast so many times. It just kept dying because of the Maha lock. So we get to draw an extra card. Like Go Blank would have been sweet a minute or 2 ago. I guess we got to play the Swamp first. This actually works, though. So we can Swamp Liliana. -X, -X, get rid of that Uro. Hit you with the Solemn. We can play the Hypnotic Spectre. I guess we just play everything. Hypnotic Spectre. Go Blank. Finally get rid of that never-ending Uro. And Bloodghast. So opponent can play the Felco. I just don't know if it honestly, really, truly is going to be enough. They need Felco into something pretty good on the top of their deck. All right, Boromir, sure. And Felco Spara, sure. So they can remove a counter from a thing to play a thing off the top of their deck. Well, you get to draw an extra card. Swiftfoot Boots and Acquisitions Expert. That is kind of the downside of discard. Once your opponent's empty-handed, your Acquisition Expert, not that great. Well, play the Schwamp. And I mean, even without the combo, Maha's pretty good here. Maha reduces the toughness, so now we can attack with our dorks, and we get to put Das Boots on Das Maha. Make sure our opponent not going to kill it with targeted removal. And how much do we attack with? We definitely attack with the Bloodghast. Maybe the Solemn? Is the Solemn worth it? We don't really want to lose the Lily. We'll leave it back for now. Hypnotic Spectre attack doesn't do much since opponent's empty-handed. Probably better off blocking a Felco. Well, Bandit's talent hit you down to 17. The grind has begun. All right, well, we get an extra card. Ooh, it's my Master's Vault. Oh, Massacre Worm. That's going to be pretty good. Well, let's grab a Swamp. Are we blocking opponent? Oh, am I dumb? Would we have just won if we cast Massacre Worm pre-combat? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh, 13, 14. I think we might have just, okay, that might have been a, I guess we don't win because of the food. And they can sack the Boromir, so they don't take 2 off of that. Probably would have still made the most sense to just pre-combat it and attack with the Maha, I guess. I mean, Massacre Worm's still, like, we're still in incredibly good shape here. But yeah, that would have been smarter. I don't know what I was thinking there. All right, opponent. Well, top deck a Wrath right now. I think that is the equation. It's got to be a Wrath. It's got to be this turn. It's got to be off the top, or else the Owl's going to win. Falco, Desperation. Is there a Wrath on the top of the deck? Opponent takes a peek, and it's got to be a Wrath, right? I don't think there's anything else that... Fateful Absence to kill the Lily, sure. I mean, now our opponent's out of counters, and it's just a Field of Ruin. I'm pretty sure this just means we attack and win, right? And a removal spell. Well, I mean, I guess we can just kill the Falco to make 100% sure, but I think we just win either way. Falco down, swing with the Owl, and this deck actually works pretty well. And boy, is it brutal. Oh, a little bit of salt sometimes. Well, here comes the crew, and GG Falco, GG, and well, that is Maha. Locking people out of the game. Sweet, sweet. So what do we learn this week about our Owl Lock deck for Magic Arena? And overall record-wise, I actually had to go back and count all of my games by hand since my tracker doesn't actually count Brawl, but we ended up playing 20 games with the deck. We won 13 for a 65% win percentage, which, of course, it's Brawl. Winning doesn't really give you anything in Brawl, so it doesn't really matter, but all that to say, the deck won a reasonable amount of the time, a very good amount of the time. So if you want a deck that's going to win a reasonable amount, it seems like this meets that qualification. More importantly, we got to absolutely ruin some Arena Zoomers Day with Maha and Knight of Souls Betrayal. It turns out that the combo is actually really easy to assemble because we have Maha in the command zone, and then we're a black deck, so we have all this card draw and all these tutors. So we saw throughout our games, like our Grim Tutors and our Insatiable Avarices, being able to find our Knight of Souls Betrayal really consistently, and that either just straight up ended the game, where our opponent, like, the lock happens, all their stuff dies, and they just realize they can't beat it and they scoop, or if our opponent could interact with it, it was still really good. We had some games where we'd like get the lockdown, wrath our opponent's board. In a couple of turns, they'd find some sort of answer for the lock, but they still lost all their creatures. Plus, because Maha goes back to the command zone, if their answer to the lock is some sort of wrath or creature removal spell, we just cast Maha again and reassemble the lock. So even if they break it, unless they can deal with the Knight of Souls Betrayal, it's actually very easy for us just to do it again. And plus, even if they can deal with Knight of Souls Betrayal, then we can find the Karavik and reassemble it that way. And even if we like never get the lock going, like Maha with Toxic Deluge on one just deals with our opponent's entire board. So the lock worked really well. The deck's super brutal. I mean, we got to see our opponent discarding tons of cards, their creatures not doing anything. So it is kind of a little bit miserable to play against, but that's kind of what we were going for. So if you don't mind being a little bit mean, I think this deck, I found it to be super fun and super funny and actually very good. The other card I want to shout out, Liliana. This card is the truth. We actually had the game where we got to ultimate our Liliana. Liliana of the Dark Realms, that is, the Chickmunk version of Liliana. But we got to ultimate it, and it's so ridiculous. Once your swamps start tapping for 4, you just get to dump your hand and do everything you want. So I really love this new Liliana. Glad they added it to Magic Arena. So that is our Maha Lock deck. That's been our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Looking for even more Magic? Well, check out the one last job deck we played for Against the Odds, or maybe the video where we found out what was better, a 2014 Modern deck or a 2024 Standard deck.